It's time for the Mad Dog Show, coming to you from the heart of the Bulldog Nation. The Mad Dog Show is proudly sponsored by Griffin Lumber and Hardware, The Sanford Company,
ASP Pool Company, Bib Distributing, Butler Automotive, Sellers Construction, Peach Services, Pelicano Construction, The Dog Bone, Go Clean Co., Macon Monogramming, Bulldog Illustrated, and Walthall Oil.
And now, here he is, the Mad Dog.
And allegedly, maybe we're back after massive technical difficulties. I've had to change the setting. I've gone back to my makeshift office that depresses me. Dogger couldn't even get on. His Cox internet went down. But I do have Buffalo. What's up?
I'm here.
I think go ahead.
Coping through the week. A little better today. Monday morning was about as low as it has gotten for me in a good long while.
Well, we had our weekly sales call at the bank, and there's some Alabama grads on there who took the opportunity to let us know that they're still our daddy, which is a big reason why our intro music of Whipping Post was so appropriate, because it feels like we've been tied to Alabama's Whipping Post for our entire lives. I guess the only place we could beat them is in Indy. When's the next time a natty is in Indy?
I don't know. And I had retired from this game live. I've retired from this game live many times, and I continue to come back. Maybe I did not go to Indy, and maybe I just don't need to go the next time. I know I'm not going to Tuscaloosa next year.
Ugh.
I've already been invited, of course, by them. They want me to come, but I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm not coming.
I've lost in Athens now. I've lost in Atlanta. I haven't been to Tuscaloosa. What could it hurt?
I won in Tuscaloosa in 07. Saban's first year. It took overtime against a pretty pedestrian Alabama team. I think they were hovering 500. I don't know what they ended up, but that was the Michael Johnson.
Was it Michael Johnson or Mikey Henderson?
That was Henderson. Maybe it was Henderson. Yeah. Sorry.
Stafford to Henderson.
Yeah. But, I was there for that game. And it took overtime to beat them.
I was back when we were in our 30s. We're not in our 30s anymore.
No, there's been a lot of miles on me since then. There's been a lot of good things happen, though, since then, not football-wise. We still have two natties that we can think about, which we never thought was, we struggled. But it's just this, and at least we did get one over them,
We got one over them, one that counted. I told everybody that 33 was going to be a hard number to overcome for a variety of reasons, and that proved to be true. So let's just talk about what all the Georgia fans can't quit talking about, and that is the fact that we rushed a fourth down play, or if we had just waited for replay, that was clear to everyone in that stadium that it was a first down. And it's interesting to me that the coaching staff doesn't want to address that. I mean, I would think you would just want to just get out in front of it and go, yeah, our plan was to go for it on fourth down. We didn't account for the fact that that could be a first down, and we made a mistake and move on. Because there's no other way to look at it other than if you had a first down and you did not wait to check the spot, you blew it. Plain and simple.
I wondered if we don't. I mean, do we send people down the sideline there to kind of eyeball that too, to throw a signal like, that was the first thing? Because, granted, I was on the visitor side, about midfield, but I was watching the play and I watched the jumbotron, and I thought it was a clear first down. As I think I told you, I was high fiving all the people around me, and I turned around to see Cash Jones with the ball in his hands, and it scrambled my brain. I almost fell into an epileptic fit. I didn't know why were we running? What are we doing? And yeah, it shocked me. And there's no, they never obviously replayed it for us, and apparently they never replayed it and never really. I don't know if the broadcast mentioned it. But
I don't know either. I haven't been able to force myself to rewatch the game. I just know that I was muttering to myself, you got to take the points here. You got to take the points here. You got to take the points in that game. You got to ensure that you're at least tied.
Yeah.
And I know
that. Yep, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I know that Kirby said he would do that 10 times out of 10, and that's fine. I get that mentality, but at the same time, you have to at least, I know your plan is to go tempo, but if there's a chance that you've already got a first down, you have to wait and see, period.
Yeah, I agree, because if you do wait, you can still say go ahead, and I know it gets them a chance to get set. And I don't know if you want to substitute. I know that plays Workforce against Tennessee. And we've run it a few times, that quick tempo, but the lack of, but we did run it to the right side. So you're relying on both freshmen to, and apparently they say if they'd executed what they were supposed to do, that they would have been a positive play for us, and we would have continued to have the ball there. And I hate that LT Overton is the one that came in. He's a Milton product. He was biggest rival, Milton, and he's the one that darted through because he was unblocked and made the play.
When if you know you're going to go for it on fourth down, you don't need to have Cash in there. I love Cash, but you need to have McCray in there. You also don't need to run, an RPO. You need to have Stockton under center so that you can either tush push him with McCray, or you can pitch it to McCray immediately versus giving the defensive line time to get in the backfield, which, oh, by the way, we didn't block them. So it was just a comedy of errors, like always seems to happen. It just never falls our way. It's borderline comical at this point.
Yeah, it works out for us against most teams. It works out all the time, and then for some reason against them it doesn't. I know that he didn't want to substitute because he didn't want to give them a chance to substitute, so he went with Cash because Cash was in there on third down, so he stayed with the same personnel. But it would have been just, I don't know. I know they did stop Josh McCray earlier in the game, which is about the first time I've seen that happen. But I'm ready to take my chances with them and just say, guess what? We're just going to go Josh McCray. We're going to let everybody look at it. If we're going to go for it, not kick it, we're going to run with Josh McCray, and if you can stop him, then hats off. If you can't, then we continue to drive.
So at this point, we can look at all the many ways we could have won against Alabama again, and it doesn't matter. We got to turn the page to Kentucky and not, let this one loss turn into two, even though it's real easy to see that this could be a 2-2 team right now. I mean, that play to Stockton to Humphreys, that's a miracle of miracles that everything worked out perfectly on that.
Missed field goal by them.
Yep.
And then Alabama tried to. When he missed that field goal that badly, I thought, "Oh my gosh, we've got something going this year. We're going to be the king of missed field goals." I thought somebody got a hand on it. It was so bad, but apparently they didn't.
It looked like he was trying to do. It looked like he was trying to do his imitation of Ruggles the Ohio State kicker from the Peach Bowl a couple years ago because it did the exact same thing.
Poor old Noah Ruggles. Yeah. That was a fantastic night. But yeah, we need to move on. I think third down, though, to me was the key of the whole game. Their third down conversions were to me, were almost more impressive than Joey Aguilar's 13 for 13 to start the game. I started talking about it in the first drive. I'm like, man, can we ever stop on third down? And it just kept going. And it kept going. And they were 7 for 7 on third down. It was shocking. We got to stop giving up these huge leads. And I went back and looked, going back to last year. Tennessee was up on us 10-0 last year at home. We won that game. Ole Miss had a 16-7 at halftime in Oxford. Tech had a 17-0. Notre Dame had a 13-3 at half. Tennessee 21-7 this year, and Alabama 14-0. Man, we can't let Kentucky come in there and script one and score, and then we got to stop feeling people out, man. I don't know what the feeling out period is, but we just got to come to play.
It's like they come in and they've diagnosed us and they just cut through us with surgical precision. And I don't know if we're coming out in some sort of base defense, like, we're trying to feel them out like two punchers and then we adjust to that. But whatever it is, you can't spot a team 14 points. Not a good one. Now, granted, we held them to no points in the second half, and that's great. But clearly at that point, it was just too much, given the fact that we've got self-inflicted wounds like fumble within our 15, dropping a touchdown pass, botching a fourth down that shouldn't have even been a fourth down. There's no room for error at that point. And I don't know how you fix it. I don't know if you come up and just different looks than that team has seen before. But, I mean, it was like they had the answers to the test. It was just crazy.
And you're right. And there's some talk about – this doesn't go back to the Tennessee or Ole Miss game last year, but there's some talk about our good friend Buster Faulkner maybe having cracked a little bit of the code last year with Tech, how they jumped out on us, and other people just kind of following that. I've heard that rumor, or I don't know. I mean, Ty Simpson wasn't running around like a maniac like Haynes King does, but that's what I've heard. I'm not technically aware enough to know if that's true or not. But anyway, we had some young players. We had the two Juan and Dontrell over there involved in a huge play of the game that didn't work out. We had Talon Taylor dropping that pass. They're youngsters, and I don't get that. I don't get that angry at them. The thing I'm going to say positively is, you said we need to move on to Kentucky, is a lot of times younger teams like we are, we got a lot of youngsters in a lot of places. And to me, those kind of teams have always risen up and gotten a lot better as the season progresses. They get more and more experience. They're used to they get used to what we're doing. And so that's what I'm going to bank on. And I know, we got Ole Miss and all down the road, but Kentucky is what we need to concentrate on.
100%. And, if things – first of all, let me go back to your Buster Faulkner theory. That's interesting. I haven't heard that. And it seems valid because he absolutely knew the answers to the test almost through the third quarter last year before we were able to make some adjustments. And who knows? Those guys are playing football calculus as far as I'm concerned. The schemes that they come up with and I'm drawing a blank on the right word that I want to use. Not positions, formations. That's the word I'm looking for. So I don't know, man. If we keep going this route, I hear that Todd Grantham now is available, and maybe we should look into bringing him back.
Man,
Unless
He said, I
Petrino
mean,
goes ahead and picks him up.
yeah, he might. Mad Dog, we are 128th in quarterback pressures this year. I think we've got 12 on the season. 12
The-
pressures.
The
And
only, yeah,
for some reference, the 21 team averaged 13 pressures a game. So there you have it.
I just think that just goes to the fact that we're not good at covering receivers, despite the fact that we've got guys that we think are good, like Ellis Robinson, who just keeps getting torched. We put DeMello Jones in for most of the game
Yep.
to replace him. So when you don't have good cover guys, you got to drop everybody back into coverage, which leaves, your base line up there, and you're trying to rush against one of the most stout O-lines in the country in Tennessee and in Alabama, and you're not going to get the pressure, and the guy's going to have all day to slice you up.
Yeah, that could be the case. It could also be the case that we're not getting any pressure. And therefore, these guys have to cover a little bit longer, and they're not good enough to do that. Ty Simpson played a whale of a game. He seemed to progress. I just stood there and watched him just boom, 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 boom. Oh, he played a heck of a game, as their quarterbacks usually do against us. I mean, if you go back, when they weren't, they switched off. The Jalen Hurts, the Tua games, they flip-flopped 2 years in the inverse the next year. I mean, they have Milroe last year. Milroe looked like, I don't know, he was the best game he's ever played.
He looked like Superman.
He did.
Another difference that I kept talking about beforehand when I said that the Alabama team that was going to show up was not going to resemble the one that played FSU was Jam Miller, their running back, who was just their go-to all night. They could count on him for 3 or 4 yards of carry. And I mean, when you've got that going on, it just opens up the passing game. And I don't think they had that against FSU. I think they just knew they had to pass to win, and so it's just a different ball game.
Yeah, with Jam out until our game. But, Jam only got 48 yards rushing or something like that. But guess what? They were very timely yards. They were situational, big time DEFCON 1 plays, and he would get the yardage they needed. And it kept us super honest on him. But we did a great job against the run overall, and we ran the ball so well. It just didn't work. If you look at a 13 for 19 on third down versus 2 for 8, I would say that we lost by an easy 3 touchdowns, and we had a chance to win the game in the end.
Speaking of 33, Chauncey Bowens is a revelation.
Yeah, seemed to get his time in once the fumble occurred. And I think they just we never saw Nate again. And I know Nate's working hard, but it looks like Chauncey kind of came to the forefront. And it'll be interesting to see what happens this weekend. Apparently, Nate was cheering him on very, very well on the sidelines and didn't put his head down and put a towel over his head like some people do. and so I love that about Nate. But if you're going to drop the ball like he has, you just got to learn how to hold the ball.
Have you ever been in a louder stadium than when they had the ball for the first time?
It was pretty loud. It was loud. He got, I think, maybe I'd say the Hendon Hooker, Jalen Carter fake safety.
Yeah.
But I was in that end zone, so I may have been receiving all the decibels may have filtered down towards me. That was about as loud as I've been in. But yeah, it was really loud, really loud.
That's the only game I could compare it to also is that Tennessee game from a couple years ago. But it was like that first time they had the ball, it was like they were pumping the sound in. It was so loud. I got home very late and my ears were still ringing.
And it was so disappointing that they kept converting those third downs.
God, it was
Oh,
brutal. Okay, let's talk
Okay.
about the scoreboard noise. The scoreboard noise from hell. Ee-yaw! It was awful. Awful. It was like a nightmare sound. It was like it was working against us.
It was. I noticed it right off the bat. I'm saying, do they play this sound effect on every non-first down, which they did, and it got to be so bad because as they continued to convert,
Yeah.
it started just striking fear in me, and it almost got worse than a football. It got to where it was getting into my like inner core psyche, like the noise. I detest that noise. I reject it. I never want to hear it again.
The best description of it is there's some guy behind me that I didn't even know, and he goes, "Please God, make it stop."
God, they kept doing it. I don't think if I hear that, I'm going this week too. If I hear that this week, I'm packing up whatever I have, which will be nothing, but I'm going to leave. Surely they're not going to play it this week.
We should be able to track down via our resources who the quote unquote stadium DJ is and make him delete that soundtrack. It was like you were on Family Feud and it got to the third X. Just terrible.
I'm friends with some Alabama fans, and the guy sends me a thing this week and says, "Hey, this is my new favorite song. My girlfriend and I are going to dance to this, and it is." And then they would do it on. It'd be 1st and 10. They'd get 8 yards. It'd be 2nd and 2. That's a bad play for us. 2nd and 2 is like almost the worst. And they would go, and I'm like, oh my God, don't do it.
All right, moving along to this week. Concerns. Yes. I'm concerned about a 9th-year senior named Castrata, who's on about his 4th team. Guys like that they're just trying to make their whole career, their whole life is to beat Georgia in Sanford Stadium. I mean, this is a team that we should beat, right? And they're going to show up loose with nothing to lose, and we're going to show up. It's hard to get up for this game. We're going to be probably, having our Alabama hangover. We've got a huge spread on this of 20.5, and we got ESPN gives us a 90% chance of winning, which just terrifies me. Thoughts?
Well, Kentucky's leading receiver has 7 receptions on the year for 134 yards.
Okay.
So they just can't throw it. I don't.
Well, I mean, ours probably isn't that much better than that.
I don't know what ours are. I mean, I'd say Zachariah's got some yardage. Colby probably, but I just don't think they're real formidable passing the ball. Now, last year I was there at the Kentucky. I actually watched the game on the sidelines last year, which was one of the best fan experiences I've ever had. Other than the fact that I thought we were going to whack them, and it took everything we had and the ghost of Wally Butts to come out of there with a 13-12 victory. And I just hope that it's a noon start, and I hope everyone is not so lazy and hungover from last week that the next thing you know, we look around and it's 14-10 at halftime, and they're getting the ball back or something, and it's just like, oh my God, here we go again.
Yep. I think that is going to be a problem. I don't think with the adult fans, but it's going to be a problem with student fans who have been out the night before. They're just coming to around noon. They're not thinking about getting to that stadium. So there's going to be that issue. And then there's people that we thought were going to be huge playmakers like Chris Cole, who went from, number 18 to number 9 because what is it, Melody? I can't ever get his name right. Who's the Army guy?
Elo Mendoza.
Mendoza.
He played 8 snaps last week, so he's not quite there yet.
Well, I'm looking it up on ChatGPT. I said, is it ELO Melody? And it said, do you mean ELO, the Electric Light Orchestra? No, I do not.
Well, I thought it was Elo Mendoza.
It's whatever it is. It's something that's very, very hard for me to Elo Mendoza.
Yeah.
Mendoza.
Yes. With a Z.
Maybe he's the missing link of somebody that can rush the quarterback because
we've got to figure out some way to put some kind of pressure on the court. We can't let them stand back there.
No.
And I'm not gonna, yeah. We just can't let them stand back there. We can't, because we'll get picked apart by anyone. So I don't know if it's blitzing. I don't know if it's. We tried a few blitzes the other day, not many, but we tried them. We tried one with CJ, and the running back picked him up. They threw it right over his head, and it was a completion. We got to get something. Remember when Nakobe used to just drill through there?
Yeah. Or we'd have a corner blitz that would just tomahawk somebody from behind, from the blind side.
Yeah.
Well, looking ahead, I'm concerned about Kentucky, but I'm scared about Auburn because Auburn is a good football team. They barely lost to A&M at A&M. They had the ball with a chance to win at the end and go up 17-16. They got hosed in the Oklahoma game by the refs.
Twice.
At least twice, maybe 3 times. If you think of the scoop and score they brought back, the PI they didn't call, and then the Oklahoma deceit play where they just cheated with the guy on the sidelines and the refs helped them do it. What was their third loss? Are those only 2? Those are only 2.
They beat Baylor. They beat some tomato can, didn't they? And then I don't know. You'll have to look.
Yeah, I'm looking. Did you just say they beat a tomato can?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
A tomato can? That's like a bum. That's like a if you're like a boxer in the old days and your manager's trying to get you some wins, he'll set you up with a bunch of tomato cans and you'll beat the crap out of them. You'll think you're good, but you're just fighting a bunch of bums, AKA tomato cans.
Tomato cans.
Yeah.
Is that like a cartoon reference?
No, that's like an old school boxing reference. If you do you remember Rocky?
Yeah.
Remember when after he'd won the title and he'd been beating the crap out of a bunch of guys, Rocky was too stupid to know, but Mickey admitted to him. He's like, and Rocky's like, "Well, you set me up with a bunch of tomato cans," and he didn't even know that he was fighting a bunch of idiots before Clubber Lang, was coming, and he's like, "Clubber Lang will kill you. You've been fighting a bunch of tomato cans. All your little fights been crap."
Okay.
There's your tomato can reference.
Another reason I'm concerned about Auburn. Do you know who they play this week?
Do not.
Nobody. It's yet another
Oh,
team that our friends at the SEC office in Birmingham set us up with a team coming off a bye week to play them at their place. So it's like this whole season scares me.
I know it does. Me too. But you know what? Even though we've lost kind of early, I'm actually enjoying this season more than I was last season. I didn't enjoy as much as I've enjoyed this season this year.
Why?
I don't know. It felt like last year there was some kind of disconnect. I can't put my finger on it, but it feels like everybody is to get we blow assignments or this and that, but it feels like everybody is really trying as hard as they can. It doesn't. Last year felt like I don't know.
Well,
Last year felt weird.
the disconnect was, I mean, a case can easily be made that it was Carson Beck, living in his condo by himself, driving his Lamborghini by himself, hanging out with his influencer girlfriend, while Gunnar Stockton's up at the Roadhouse drinking beers with the boys. I mean, that's why they love him. And I think, to your point,
Yeah,
that's continuing this year and has only continued to flourish. And so hopefully that'll be the difference maker that we can kind of rally behind as we continue to try and find ourselves.
I agree. That's pretty much what I was saying. I think if your quarterback is kind of aloof to the rest of the team, the entire thing permeates through everything, and we don't have that this year. We seem to be, we're not unbeatable at all. We saw that Saturday, but I'm just more excited for this team than I was last year, even though we won the SEC championship.
Buffalo, it feels like you continue to resonate fire, passion, and energy. And that is, you embody that.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't hear it in the press conference on Monday. I didn't hear it. That's the first time I hadn't heard it.
Well, you're not going to hear it in a press conference on Tuesday because those are gone now.
Yeah, they've been eliminated. I didn't hear a tremendous amount of respect, I don't think, this week.
I didn't hear that either.
Yeah, I was crazy.
And, I've got a tremendous amount of respect for Bert Hodges from the Dog Bone. The man has an intense job as an accountant. We're coming up on the 10/15 filing deadline for tax returns. Bert couldn't be here today because he had to handle the duty that lies nearest. And, that's something to respect.
That's right. We would have talked about the game with him. We would have talked about his second favorite team, which I think is Odessa Permian Basin down in Texas. Mine is Incarnate Word.
That's who mine is. We share that Incarnate Word.
Well, do you know what they did to Abilene Christian on Saturday?
I do not.
They came off the top rope, man, and 48-10 them.
Wow.
48-10. Abilene Christian got beat so bad by Incarnate Word that they converted to Islam on Saturday. I shouldn't even joke about stuff like that, but
Word is to rehab their careers. If you look at Cam Ward, that's where he came out of.
Yeah.
And when I first heard that Cam Ward came out of Incarnate Word, and that was the first time I'd ever heard of that school, and I thought it was a high school.
Well,
like Mater D or something out of California.
Yeah, Los Angeles.
Yeah,
man. That's impressive. Speaking of high school football, as a side note, it is the time. This is the week for the big annual Baylor McCallie game.
Oh yeah,
yeah, big time.
Will you be in attendance?
No, I've got Parents Weekend. I'll be in Athens, so otherwise I would be.
We might
So I'll
have
be
to
watching
fire off a text to our buddy Chris Angel, the Baylor headmaster, to find out what is happening. You know, Chris Angel would be a great guest to have. We would need him to
Yeah.
bring. We would need him to
Let's
bring
get him.
the headmistress Peggy on here as well.
Yeah, let's get him. Let's get him on here.
I think they'd be a hoot.
Macaulay's already busted out their big video. They've dogged us. They've said all kind of things in their video here. They've just dropped on us. And who did Macaulay beat? Macaulay beat the number 2 team in California 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember who it is, but anyway, be a big game. Another red and blue matchup where I'm on the side of red.
Yeah. Well, I wish you and the Baylor Bears,
Red Raiders. Yeah, well,
the Red Raiders. Sorry.
You were right.
The
They
Red
flirted
Raiders.
with the Bears for a while. Yeah, that was. But anyway, are you going to the game this week?
I'm thinking probably not because my daughter's coming home and we've got some wedding planning we need to. I think I'm going to try eating and red lines that I feel like have gotten out of control.
There we go.
Wish me luck.
It's probably important. Well, I will be there in
Yes.
your stead, and I will try to take down Bob Stoops, which sometimes is a problem. Usually at home it's not,
Yeah.
but up there it's tough.
Yeah.
I do like
Well-
Kentucky plus 20.5.
Yeah, I mean, we're not good against the spread. We're terrible ATS.
Yeah. I know the Dogger's having problems, but with his connections, but yeah, definitely probably would take them plus 20.5, but what do I know?
Yeah, me either. All right, well, my dog's hungry, and I think we've covered everything, so at least you and I got to talk.
That's right.
So
Go
until
Dogs.
next time, let's try and unleash ourselves from that whipping post and go out and get a win.
Yeah, we don't need our best girl in some crosstown bar drinking with our good time buddy. We need to put a stop to that.
Sometimes I